Hi guys, James at Rampant Lion Reviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to head up towards the Stockholm area of Sweden, and this is a brewery that you've seen me review a good couple of things from now. So for this one we're going to go to Arlandastad, which is just a little bit to the north of Stockholm, quite close to the airport, and we're doing another review from Sigtuna Brygghus, and this is one of their recent releases. This guy was released on the 1st of February 2019. So today we're going to have a taste of the No Big Thing, which is a New England's double IPA coming in at 8% ABV. And yeah, this one, it should be really interesting. I've heard some good things about this beer, so I'm very curious to see how it turns out. So as always, I hope you guys enjoy my take on this one. But as is usual with my reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery. If you want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my other reviews that I've done from Sigtuna Brygghus before. No doubt there will be some more added in the near future. There's all the usual social media. If you want to see more beer reviews, do please consider subscribing to the channel. The whole channel, of course, has a geography-based tagging system, so you can go into the homepage and search for beer based on country, city, state, county, prefecture, whatever it is you're interested in. Do check out the playlist of beers from different countries. There is one there for all the Swedish beers that I've reviewed for you. That's constantly being added to, and as always, please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries that you guys would like to see me review. It's always great to hear from you guys that are watching the videos, and the support that you show the channel is hugely appreciated. So anyway, to tell you a little bit about the Sigtuna Brygghus then. So as I've told you before, Sigtuna Brygghus was founded back in 2005 by Peter Force, and he was joined in the early stages by David Meadows and Håkan Lundgren. And the brewery, as I mentioned to you, is located in Arlandastad, very close to Stockholm Arlanda Airport, and it takes its name from the town of Sigtuna, which is actually the town where Sweden was formed. It's Sweden's oldest town actually, and it's very pretty. It's very pretty too. My father and I were there in the winter. I think it was in April that we were there, and everything was just starting to kind of thaw out, and it was a really pretty little town actually, so somewhere that I do recommend you visit if you get the chance. It's got a lovely little waterfront that you can walk around, but quite an expensive area to live from what I gather, but very pretty nonetheless. And it's famous for its black soil as well, and one of the beers from Sigtuna is called the Black Soil IPA, and that is definitely one of their beers that I recommend that you check out. But back to the history then. So yeah, in 2005 this company was formed, and they brewed their first batch of beer in 2006, and in the early days they were producing just around 600 gallons of beer per week. But initially they wanted to brew mainly historical recipes, but more recently, of course, they've been doing the American styles, the more modern styles of craft beer. But for the first few years they were happy hobby brewing, but their beers proved to be very popular, so they upscaled their brewery, went fully commercial, and hired more staff back in 2009. A few years later, in 2013, they surpassed the 1 million litres of beer brewed mark, and now they have 12 employees and a 3,000 litre per brew capacity, my apologies, meaning that they can brew over 1 million litres of beer per year. The brewing team is 4 men strong, and they're expanding further basically to get their beers out there and exported a little bit more. I do believe that their beers are currently being exported over to America, because they've got a partnership out there with the Captain Lawrence Brewery, who are another one that I definitely recommend that you check out. But the Sigtuna Brygghus brewery is also home to St. Erik's Brewery as well, who are attached to Galatea, if I remember correctly. But that brewery, of course, is run by Jessica Heydrich, who's quite well known in Swedish craft beer circles. They've been a guest brewery since 2010, and also Mohawk Brewing, who are really good at imperial stouts and things. Another one of the famous kind of gypsy brewers, if you like. They brew a lot of their beers at the Sigtuna Brygghus as well. So yeah, very well known brewery, this one. Probably one of the bigger volume craft producers in Sweden these days. And from what I remember, they always had a number of their beers as being organic as well, which was pretty cool. So yeah, definitely worth checking out the beers from these guys too if you want, if you're interested in Swedish craft beer. And they're probably one of the more widely available Swedish craft breweries at the moment, behind the likes of Omnipollo and stuff like that. But yeah, it's cool to see them releasing some more of these kind of New England IPAs and stuff like that, because the last one I had from them, I think, was pretty damn good, and I'm sure the guys at Captain Lawrence have built up a very good kind of collaboration with them too. But yeah, that's all you really need to know about the brewery just now. If you want to learn a little bit more, check out the brewery website in the description below, and you can follow them on Facebook and stuff like this too, and that will keep you up to date with all the latest goings on at the brewery. But let's get on to the tasting of this beer itself then. So this one, as I mentioned to you earlier, it's a New England double IPA coming in at 8%. The hops in this are Amarillo, Citra, Centennial and Equinox, so a really lovely blend of hops in there. and it's got wheat malt in it, oats, and I think unmalted wheat as well, from what it was saying on the website when I had a little look at it. So yeah, 330ml bottle, this one, and as I mentioned to you, this was released on the 1st of February 2019. I can't remember if this was just one of the quarterly releases. I suspect it was, but there was also the small partiers on the very same day. It just happened to fall on a Friday, the 1st of the month this year. So yeah, but yeah, there you can see the Sigtuna Brygghus symbol on this one, very nicely presented, and you can also see that that is on the bottle cap up here as well. But yeah, really nicely presented beer, this one. So I guess without further ado, let's get this guy out and we'll get on with the tasting. I'm very curious to see what they've thrown up with this, because you know the beers always do tend to be pretty good, and there's some of them that really will surprise you. So yeah, as soon as you open this beer up, you smell some of these lovely big hoppy qualities coming out of the beer. But yeah, that looks really nice. Pretty much as you would expect from a New England IPA. And you can smell, as I say, you get a lot of lemon limey qualities off this one. So that'll be the Centennial and the Equinox kind of coming out of this one. But you've also got some lovely oranges and mangoes and stuff like this too. But yeah, in terms of being a New England IPA, it certainly looks the part here. We can get rid of the brewery notes now, of course, but this one certainly looks the part. You know, it's a lovely, bright, hazy golden yellow colour. This one, in terms of its appearance, really is one of the more kind of hazy. It looks really almost like soup a little bit, very hazy. There's a solid finger of a frothy, I would say perfect white head on this one. One or two big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass, and a few little ones just heading up towards the bottom of that head there. But you know, overall it does look pretty damn nice, but nothing overall really surprising about this one in terms of its appearance. You know, definitely does look like a New England IPA. So let's take a closer look at the aroma then and just see how we get on with this beer. Oh yeah, I'll tell you straight away, this one smells pretty damn good. So yeah, definitely a good chunk of mango in there. That'll be the Citra coming out. But you can also smell some of the juicier orange towards the. It's almost like saying towards the front of the nose. I think the oranges are coming out a little bit later in the aroma, to be honest with you. But mangoes, I think, forming the linchpin of this beer. The more oily oranges coming out of this one. Of course, if it was mosaic, you get a slightly more juicy kind of tangerine quality. But the the Amarillo definitely gives you a little bit more of that orangey, that more oily orangey quality, I should say. But yeah, definitely a good little bit of a lemony, limey quality. The lemony notes, Centennial will be giving you that. It always gives you this kind of lemon sherbety quality, and you can really pick that up in this one. And you've also got a little bit of that slightly juicier lime, which will be from the Equinox too. But yeah, lovely smelling beer this. It comes across as very fresh, and I'm sure, you know, it is. It just comes across really nicely. That you can definitely pick up a little bit of lychee and stuff like that, which will be, you know, you can pick out some of the lychee kind of gooseberry notes. These are the complexities that you'll get from the Citra. But other than that, on the grassy and floral side of things, to me, this one's coming across as being a little bit more floral, and from what I remember, that's the Centennial. The Centennial, in addition to that sort of lemon sherbety quality, it can give you a good little bit of a kind of slightly spicy floral aromatic hit. And you can really pick that out in this beer. There are grassy elements to it as well, but I think more of a kind of floral, a floral side to the sort of green qualities, if you like, of the hops in this one. But the fruitiness is very inviting, and it smells really nice. On the malty side of things, this is a really interesting one, because it actually smells, it actually smells like quite sweet. This is definitely one of the sweeter New England IPA aromas that I've come across. You can smell that lovely white bready quality in there, and you can smell there's a good chunk of an almost slightly sweet wheaty quality in this one, which is really good. So you can smell the oaty creaminess as well, and a good little bit of a sweet biscuity quality. So I mean, overall, the aroma in this beer is very nice. So yeah, I really like how everything is kind of going together in this one. It's just, the aroma in the malt base in this one is quite prominent actually. It's definitely got one of the more prominent malt bases that I've come across in the New England IPAs, but at the same time it comes across as very smooth and very sweet. So just bear that in mind when you actually have a smell of this beer. But lots of lovely juicy fruity aromas. It's got that nice bit of hoppy freshness to it, as you would expect. and it's also got a good little bit of the nice kind of sweetness from the malts as well. So as I always say, just take a little bit of time and enjoy the aroma of the beer before you get stuck in. But we are going to have a taste of this one now. So this one is the No Big Thing, a New England double IPA coming in at 8% ABV from Sigtuna Brygghus up in Arlandastad to the north of Stockholm. One of the releases through Systembolaget on the 1st of February 2019. Let's get stuck in. Slange, skål. I have to say, that's really quite nice actually. You know, the aroma, to be honest with you, this is one of these beers that comes across as quite similar to the aroma. You know, if you smell the aroma of this one, I'm sorry, the taste actually comes across, the flavour really comes across in very much the same way. But yeah, it's a nice beer this. I certainly wouldn't hesitate to drink it again. In the aftertaste you can tell that this one's a little bit heavier. You can feel a little bit of the booziness coming out of this one, particularly in the aftertaste. But it does cover its alcohol very, very well. It's just a little hint of booziness in the aftertaste that gives it away. So yeah, with this one then, I would say in the malt base, you've definitely got a nice little bit of that kind of smooth, wheaty quality. That just blankets the middle of your palate. You can feel a little bit of a sort of grainy quality pushing its way out in this one the further you go. A little bit of biscuity sweetness in the middle of the palate too, but as you go out from the very centre of your tongue, you can feel there's the nice kind of creamy, oaty notes there, and the creamy qualities do have a, you know, they do have a considerable presence. There's a lot of creaminess from the oats, but the wheaty sweetness to this one is really quite prominent as well. So you know, the malt base, like I say, in this New England double IPA is quite a bit more prominent than you might come across in some other ones, and I do like that actually. It gives you know, it's a bit of a change of pace actually compared to some of the other ones where the malt base is just supposed to be there in the background and it's all about the kind of juicy, fruity qualities. This one does have a good little bit of malty presence, and as I've always said, if you can get that out of the beer, it does give it just a little bit more complexity. But you know, this one definitely does get a thumbs up from me. I wouldn't hesitate to drink this again. Yeah, I think they're on to a winner here, to be honest with you. This one, the slightly sweeter malt base also helps bring out some of the fruity qualities really nicely as well. And I think it's getting more and more sweet towards the front of the palate as well, but very, very nice beer this. So have a go at it for yourself and just see what you think. On the hoppy side of things then, in the back corners of the palate, there's a teeny little bit of earthiness there, but it very quickly just kind of smooths out as you come further forward, and it's got a little bit of a, you know, it's definitely got a little bit of a kind of floral, aromatic-y sort of thing along the sides of your palate. It's not too spicy. I would have expected it to be a little bit spicier than that, but it's just a very nice kind of subtle floral quality there. It does get a little bit spicy at the front corners of the palate, but then as you go around the front curve of the tongue, it just becomes a little bit lighter and more grassy and things like that as well. But yeah, I really like how this how everything's going together in this one. Yeah, it really is just very nice. This one, I like how it's going together. And behind the front curve of the palate, of course, that's where you get that nice oily bubble where those juicy, fruity esters kind of come out of the beer. For me, there's a little touch of grapefruit to this one. Good little bit of mango in there. There's a lot of nice juicy mangoes in this one too. And on top of that, you start to get the oranges from the Amarillo. The oranges are coming out just a little bit further forward on the palate than the mangoes are, and as I say, that little tiny touch of grapefruit is just at the very, very back of that oily, fruity bubble that I always talk about. And you can definitely pick up, almost right on the edge of the tongue, you can pick up the sort of lemony, sherbety qualities of the Centennial there, and then the limey notes are just kind of infusing into that. The lime's almost playing around a little bit with the orangey flavours and the lime qualities in this beer. You can pick up on the very tip of the tongue a little bit of that almost kind of lychee flavour. I always find with Citra you get just this little bit of a lychee kind of complexity to it. The further into the aftertaste you go. But for me, the further into the aftertaste you go with this beer, the malts are starting to sweeten up a little bit, so you're getting some of the oaty and wheaty notes out of the beer, but you're also getting some, the juicy oranges and the mangoes start to become more prominent in this. The lemon and limey qualities for me just drop back a little bit, and it's the oranges and the mangoes, the Amarillo and the Citra, that really start to take the more kind of prominent place in the beer. But for me, it's a really, really nice one, this, and I like how everything goes together in this beer. So yeah, have a go at this one for yourself and just see what you think. But I think this is a really solid New England IPA, and I certainly wouldn't hesitate to drink it again. It's quite different in terms of its vibe and things like that, in terms of its feel compared to some of the other ones. As I said, the malt base is a little bit more present. It's a little bit sweeter, of course, as well in the malt base, but I think it really suits it. But the way the juicy fruity qualities come out in this one, and also the floral component of the hops, for me that really kind of highlights it a little bit. It's almost got that kind of German noble quality to it in terms of the way the floral flavours come out. But yeah, I like this one too. I really like what's going out and how everything kind of goes together in this one. But yeah, you know, just taste this beer for yourself and you see what you think. But I think Sigtuna have done a really, really good job of this. In terms of the mouthfeel then, mid-bodied, carbonation is very smooth in this one. It's got a nice sort of, it's got a good balance between a creamy mouthfeel and a little bit more of a kind of oily note to it. Good little bit of hoppy bitterness. I would say it's around, you know, the sort of 30ish, maybe 40 IBUs at a push. It's not going to blow your head off in terms of the IBUs. Lots of juicy fruity quality to this one. That's one of the areas where I think this one stands out. And as I say, the malt base is very balanced between the sweetness and the smoothness, but I think it leans a little bit more towards the sweet side of things. And I like that about this beer. If you like your New England IPAs to be a little bit sweeter and juicier, then this is one that you're definitely going to enjoy. It just has a little touch of an oily quality in the mouthfeel as well, which really helps the fruity qualities come out, particularly the mango and the orange too. But another very, very solid beer from Sigtuna Brygghus, and I certainly wouldn't hesitate to drink this again, so it gets a big thumbs up from me. But yeah, let's leave it at that for this one. I think I've described this one pretty well so far, even if I do say so myself. But have a go at this one for yourself and just see what you think. A very, very solid release from Sigtuna, and I'm not surprised, to be honest, when you consider they've now got a partnership with Captain Lawrence. But yeah, really nice beer, this one. As always, thank you for watching my beer reviews. Until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Let me know your own thoughts on this beer in the comment section below. Let me know what your favourite beers are from Sigtuna Brygghus as well. And as always, you know, do check out my social media. Make sure you try some of these beers. And I thank you again for watching my reviews. This was the No Big Thing, a New England double IPA, 8% ABV from Sigtuna Brygghus in Arlandastad in Sweden. Until the next time, slàinte just now, and I'll catch you guys later. Slàinte, skål.